The New York Times briefing, April 7, 2026. U.S. politics, Trump discusses dismissal of Attorney General Pam Bondi. Articles center on remarks by Donald Trump regarding the potential removal of Attorney General Pam Bondi, sparking concerns over the independence of the U.S. justice system, risks of political interference, and institutional stability. Foreign policy and security, Trump's NATO withdrawal rhetoric weakens alliance deterrence. Another report analyzes Trump's repeated threats to abandon or withdraw from NATO, noting that such rhetoric creates uncertainty, erodes internal trust in cooperation, and undermines the alliance's overall strategic coherence and deterrent power. Entertainment and culture, Zendaya and Robert Pattinson on marriage, secrets, and drama. The entertainment section features a conversation between the two stars, focusing on their views on marriage, personal privacy, and media narratives, as well as how they navigate the dramatic gap between their public personas and real lives. Lifestyle in space, discussions on living space. Content under living space explores the significance and presentation of home environments, emphasizing how living conditions influence daily experiences and the perception of quality of life. The human cost of war, how the bill falls on individuals. In The Human Cost of War, the perspective shifts to the impact on ordinary people, focusing not only on battlefield casualties but also on long-term trauma, displacement, and the hardships of rebuilding lives, noting that the consequences of war often persist for years. The Washington Post briefing, April 7, 2026. Domestic affairs, Trump weighs cabinet changes but seeks to avoid massive shakeup. Reports suggest Trump is considering further personnel adjustments but aims to avoid a massive shakeup to maintain a balance between pushing reforms and ensuring government stability. Foreign policy and security, Iran uranium seizure operation linked to Trump's demands. A high-risk raid aimed at seizing Iranian uranium materials has been linked to direct demands from Trump. This development underscores the aggressive options being pursued regarding Iran's nuclear program and may lead to complex regional security consequences. Social issues, higher social media usage linked to lower support for democracy. According to polling data, frequent social media use correlates with lower support for democratic institutions. The findings suggest that digital platforms may exacerbate institutional alienation and reshape political attitudes. Personnel, Trump dismisses Pam Bondi, replaces Attorney General. Trump has officially dismissed Pam Bondi, citing reasons related to transition arrangements. This move signals a simultaneous reshaping of Washington's power structure and judicial direction. Commentary, risks of a back to the Stone Age's policy path. A strongly worded commentary warns that if governance continues in an improper direction, it could lead to a substantial regression in social and institutional capabilities, echoing concerns over declining democratic support. The Wall Street Journal briefing, April 7, 2026. Markets and geopolitical risk, Hormuz hope drives market rally. U.S. stocks ended March on a high note, fueled by Hormuz hope, investor optimism that Middle East conflicts may be nearing an end, thereby boosting risk appetite. Media industry, power struggles in the Midwest. A report focuses on an escalating adversarial, internal struggle within a Midwest media group. Characterized by "I will destroy you" style infighting, the conflict reflects the tensions in the traditional media industry during resource reallocation. Employment data, U.S. job growth exceeds expectations. The U.S. added approximately 178,000 jobs in March, surpassing forecasts and demonstrating labor market resilience, providing a key reference for future interest rate decisions. M&A, Gulf funds back Paramount Warner deal. Exclusive reports state that Gulf-based funds have agreed to back Paramount's $8.1 billion, or $81.8 billion per varying reports, acquisition of Warner assets, signaling accelerated consolidation in the content industry. Capital markets, SpaceX files for IPO. Elon Musk's SpaceX has officially filed to go public, set to be one of the largest IPOs in history. Markets are closely watching its valuation and its potential impact on tech sector sentiment. Financial Times briefing, April 7, 2026. Finance, the stablecoin stampede. Inside the stablecoin stampede highlights a commercial gold rush as mainstream financial institutions flood the market. Stablecoins are moving from early exploration to large-scale commercialization. Consumer life, energy-saving tips from Martin Lewis. Financial expert Martin Lewis recommends a home appliance replacement scheme that could reduce running costs to as little as 1/20th of a tumble dryer, focusing on optimizing household expenses. Safety, child safety warnings. An article titled 20 Times Kids Were Caught Doing Dumb Things uses case studies to warn parents about high-risk behaviors in daily life, emphasizing that accidents are more common than imagined. The Guardian briefing, April 7, 2026. Intelligence, rumors of Tulsi Gabbard's replacement. Reports suggest Trump has discussed replacing intelligence head Tulsi Gabbard with advisors, reflecting ongoing uncertainty in key national security roles. Diplomacy, backlash over profane threats against Iran. U.S. politicians have reacted to Trump's profane threats against Iran, with some describing the rhetoric as mentally unbalanced or frenzied. Security, Secret Service investigates suspected shooting near White House. The U.S. Secret Service is investigating reports of a suspected shooting near the White House, highlighting the high-pressure security environment in the Capitol. Domestic policy, anti-fraud crackdown begins in blue states. Trump announced a crackdown on fraud in Democratic-led states, with arrests reportedly beginning in California. The move is seen as deeply intertwined with partisan politics. The Times briefing, April 7, 2026. Controversy, allegations involving Kristi Noem's husband. Reports claim a model was paid $25 per minute to engage in explicit conversations with Kristi Noem's husband, sparking a media firestorm. Culture, has April Fool's Day lost its magic? An analysis explores whether the tradition of April Fools has lost its appeal due to the changing information landscape and social environment. Partnership, NYT joins Delta Sync. Delta News Hub announced that the New York Times is now available on Delta Sync, offering world-class news and games to passengers. The Telegraph briefing, April 7, 2026. Security, Trump strongly considering NATO exit. In an exclusive interview, Trump stated he is strongly considering withdrawing from NATO and urged Europe to cherish the Strait of Hormuz. Personnel, Steve Whitworth returns to newsroom. Steve Whitworth is set to return to the Telegraph newsroom, marking a key editorial update for the publication. Le Monde briefing, April 7, 2026. Geopolitics, escalating threats against Iran. Reports highlight Trump's extreme pressure on Iran, including threats to obliterate civilian infrastructure. While claiming a victory is near, he vowed even larger strikes, raising fears of conflict spillover. International, Cuba pardons 2,000 prisoners under U.S. pressure. In response to U.S. pressure, Cuba has pardoned over 2,000 prisoners, reflecting a tactical shift in the bilateral relationship. El País briefing, April 7, 2026. Economy, BlackRock CEO warns of global recession. Larry Fink warned that if the war with Iran lasts more than a year, the global economy could fall into a recession. Narrative, chaotic U.S. war rhetoric. Analysis describes Trump's communication regarding the Iran conflict as a chaotic narrative filled with contradictions and hyperbole, causing confusion among the public and allies. Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung, FAZ, briefing, April 7, 2026. Aviation, Lufthansa to ground older fleet due to fuel costs. Rising kerosene prices driven by the Iran conflict have pressured Lufthansa to ground older aircraft to improve operational efficiency and cut costs. Security, potential Easter truce in Ukraine? Reports track signals of a possible weapons silence or ceasefire between Ukraine and Russia during the Easter period, which could provide a window for diplomatic mediation. China Daily Briefing, April 7, 2026. Economy, yuan-denominated commodities. Reports focus on the potential expansion of RMB-denominated commodity pricing in international trade. Public opinion, global views of China surpass the U.S. A featured poll suggests that global perceptions of China are currently more positive than those of the United States, highlighting a shift in the international narrative. Yomiuri Shimbun Briefing, April 7, 2026. Technology, TSMC to produce 3 nanometers chips in Japan. TSMC plans to mass-produce 3 nanometers semiconductors in Japan, strengthening the country's position in the high-end chip supply chain. Energy, hydrogen truck mainline routes planned. The Japan Hydrogen Association has drafted plans for major hydrogen truck transport routes, moving hydrogen logistics from pilot phases to a networked reality. The Straits Times briefing, April 7, 2026. Diplomacy, Iran's open letter to the U.S. The full text of a letter from Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian to the U.S. was published, serving as a key diplomatic text for understanding Iran's current stance. Al Jazeera briefing, April 7, 2026. Conflict, Day 38 of U.S.-Israeli strikes on Iran. Continuous rolling coverage tracks the military operations against Iran, now entering their second month. Key takeaways from an interview with Iranian official Araghchi highlight Tehran's core concerns and policy signals.